Consider this. Every atom of oxygen in our lungs, of carbon in our muscles, of calcium in our bones, of iron in our blood, every atom was created inside a star before Earth was born. What did someone say? No way. Yes way. I swear it. Okay, I have another one. Not once in the 3 billion year history of life on this planet has your personal line of descent been broken. For you to be here now, every one of your ancestors, human, primate, amphibian, fish, sponge, primal organism, had to pass on its genetic material to a new generation. You are literally the product of 3 billion years of evolutionary tweaks and blessed refinement. Amen. No way! Okay, I have another one. Let's just make this the whole sermon. No way! The new title is No Way. DNA, the building block for making you, is highly stable and can last for tens of thousands of years. Very little of what you own right now, my friends, jewelry and treasured heirlooms and photographs and love letters, will still exist in 1,000, let alone 10,000 years. But your DNA will still be here. And hopefully recoverable. Thinking about vast time, the infinite stretched out behind and before us, helps us really get, that our time in these bodies, our lives, oh friends, they're teeny tiny blips in the grand scheme of things. Homo sapiens, humans, have occupied 0.007% of time on Earth, 300,000 years out of 4.5 billion. 99.993% of this incomprehensible swath of time that Earth has existed has not involved us. And that is humbling. And yet, these microscopic life blips of ours matter. Oh, how they matter. And they are so precious. They carry forward ancient star stuff, and they leave behind cosmic matter that ripples out in ways we will never, ever know. And each of our precious little blip lives, they also carry forward the stories and wisdom, hard lessons learned, mistakes of those who have come before us, right alongside the hope we all have, which is to leave this life we've been given to live, having contributed something good in the world for those who will come after us. Maybe even something to be remembered for a time. Yes, these lives of ours matter and are precious, and that considering that vastness of time, it helps put what matters in perspective, right? It right sizes us, and it makes all that we do with the lives we have been given the opposite of what you might assume here. Not unimportant, not a meaningless blip, but rather the most important. That is the invitation to be found here. And I can't help but think about Mary Oliver right now. What will you do with your wild and precious life? The ancient philosophy of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, which many know as the Iroquois, this ancient philosophy that they live by is called the seventh generation principle. This is their highest value for living. The seventh generation principle says this: to think of the seventh generation coming after you in words, work, and action, and to remember the seventh generation who came before in words, work, and action. I'm going to be holding my hands out like this a lot this morning. By allowing these two arms to coalesce at all times, both in word and work and action, we do not end up being stuck in the past, clinging to it desperately, or only thinking and worrying and toiling about tomorrow. Held in balance, we become profoundly connected to ourselves, each other, and the present. It's a kind of paradox. I love paradoxes. And that is the sacred wisdom teaching of this principle. Or as Indigenous wisdom says, for they say it far better than I could, we will know our place in the world. And when we know our place in time and in the world, we know who we are. Now. This is what our poet William Stafford is telling us about being a person. That how you stand here is important. How you wait and breathe before the river, whose very nature, like ours, is vast and in motion, ancient and ever evolving. And there we stand and wait. How to do this? Easy. How do we hold both? Infinite time, 7 generations behind and before. These are the great theological, philosophical, religious questions of human time. These are the ruminations of the mystics. Tadadaho chief Leon Shenandoah says that this balancing, holding place of presence, what others call wisdom, enlightenment, nirvana, communion with God, liberating love, is what he says is to become a human being. That's his wisdom teaching about the presence. That is the highest level in this life, to become a human being. Where we rise, he says, to a place of recognition of the whole, not just in this life, but spanning out in either direction too. The spiritual path, he says, helps you become a human being. One of my favorite wisdom teachers is Catholic priest Father Gregory Boyle, who puts it this way: The fluency of the mystic is about being all there. All there. I've sat with a lot of people at the end of their lives, and every last one of them have only ever wanted to talk about the moments that they were all there, or trying to reconcile when they weren't. The filler and the fodder, it's meaningless. It's as though when faced with our mortality, you know this, we are given a great insight, a sacred wisdom about what it all comes down to, being a human being that is all there. The 18th century poet William Blake, he wrote this poem called The Auguries of Innocence. And it begins with these words, to see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wildflower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. Blake was all about glimpsing the grand in the small, understanding that comprehending the vast, like eternity or space-time continuums or the meaning of life, that to even begin to get any kind of glimpse of comprehension here, one must hold it in the palm of your hand, yours, right now. Eternity in this hour, perfectly balanced between all that was and all that will be, right? Bob and Missy, who I'm so grateful for today for sharing what they did, they reminded us to count the blessings in the life of this community, where so many find purpose and meaning in their lives. They remind us about what it takes to really be here. How else but in being here can we glimpse the profound beauty of, as Bob says, how we worship and work and play. You have to be here to really see it and know it. And by doing this well, we are better able to honor and consider those who have made our being here, this beauty, possible, and simultaneously better able to consider how to make the lives of those who are not yet here beautiful and possible. This month's theme is generosity, as Bob said. And you know I love etymology, word origins. This word generosity is merged from two Latin sources or concepts, genus and genere. Genus means, I'm going to do the arms again, the origin, birth. Genere means to create and bring life, to generate. Because here we are, back at these two arms again, all that has come before and all that is yet to come, we have to ask ourselves, what is this being here now? And that is generosity, in spirit, in act, and orientation, holding both in careful balance. That is how we become generous. That is how we become generous. I preached about centering your gifts last week, and I hope you will think about the gifts you hope and want to leave after you have departed this precious life of yours, but not just tangible. How did people feel after crossing your path? How did the earth feel after your time on it? That requires a generosity of spirit, doesn't it? And I hope you will consider the gifts you have received at the hands of all those who have come before, the known and unknown through valiant acts and painful mistakes. And I hope you can be willing to learn from them and be grateful for them And between these two, I hope you will see yourselves now, in this moment, as envoys of purpose and value and meaning and love right now. Keepers and sacred bearers, inheritors and bequesters of the divine infinite, which is this precious life of yours, set in an incomprehensible long chain of life. But here you are with it in your hand, your palm. What, my friends, are you going to do with it? I hope and pray that this inescapable truth that I am about to say be your charge now. Know yourself as blessed envoys of ancient and lasting star stuff in a long chain of star stuff, for you are. And let this inescapable truth be your charge as well, your gift to this wild and precious becoming a human being life of yours, in word, in work, in action. That is my charge for you today and in the coming days. And I have to return to William Stafford's words again. They cut to the heart. Being a person, he writes. Be a person here. Stand by the river, invoke the owls, invoke winter, then spring. Let any season that wants to come here make its own call. After that sound goes away, wait. A slow bubble rises through the earth and begins to include sky and stars, all space, even the outtracing, expanding thought. Come back and hear the little sound again. Suddenly, this dream that you are having matches everyone's dream, and the result is the world. If a different call came, there wouldn't be any world, or you, or the river, or the owls calling. How you stand here is important. How you listen for the next things to happen. How you breathe. May it be so, and amen.